Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Not sure if anybody's in here yet. That's okay. We'll give it a few seconds. I plan on going live at least once a week this year. At least once a week, I want to go live. Like, I could try for two, just so you guys are, well versed on my schedule. I have Tuesdays and Wednesdays off. In fact, I thought about pushing this to Wednesday just because, maybe makes a little bit more sense after a afternoon game to do this at 5 o'clock instead of 9:17 p.m. But we're not. We're going live now. Probably won't go live tomorrow. If everything goes right, maybe I'll consider it. But I'll also point out that I do have a sore throat. So probably not going for an hour or anything like that tonight. Probably closer to a half an hour. Leave your questions, all that good stuff. Really do appreciate it. I'll remind you guys again, while you're here, if you could hit like and subscribe. If you're probably already subscribed because you're really smart, but if you haven't, subscribe, hit that like button. It really helps the show. Long way to introduce that the Mariners lose. They fall 5-2. They fall to 3-3 on the season, and the series against the Guardians is evened up at a game apiece. Let's go over the scoring plays. Will Brennan, I almost forgot his first name there, singles to right. Mitch Haniger, who makes a very bad defensive play. That scores Jose Ramirez. Brennan gets the second. Batter later, there was no defense. Bo Naylor just absolutely shellacks a homer off of Luis Castillo. 3-0. Fifth, Stephen Kwan reaches on a bunt single. Josh Rojas makes a terrible throw. Terrible throws were kind of a little bit of a theme tonight. Makes it 4-0. Seventh inning, Tyler, not Freddie. Tyler, not Freddie. Tyler, not Freddie. Hits a sacrifice fly to right to score Jose Ramirez. 5-0. Mariners get a couple in the seventh. Josh Rojas doubles. Ball just barely sneaks down the line to make it 5-1. And then JP Crawford singles home Ty France on I believe the bases, there was a runner on third and the runner scored. Who cares? 5-2, Mariners lose. Before I get to your questions, I'm going to do my good old ad read. Simply Seattle. They provide the very best in Seattle sports gear. Awesome stuff for the Mariners, of course, but great stuff for the Kraken. I'm wearing the Kraken jersey today. Great stuff for the Rainiers. Wearing the Rainiers hat, which I picked up from Simply Seattle. Huskies, Cougars, you can find it all at Simply Seattle. They have this new George Kirby shirt, Kirby's Dreamland. I cannot recommend getting that enough. That is a disgustingly good shirt. Mollywatt 15 at checkout. There'll be a link in the description after this for those of you who are watching the show afterwards. But simplyseattle.com. Got a great question here to start. Chris, why can't the Mariners? I don't know, man. It's a great question. And he also asks, when are the Mariners going to hit? And tell me why it's going to be tomorrow. I sure hope so. I want to see this offense show some dang consistency because they sure haven't. Let's talk about some positives for tonight first. Ty France had a really nice game. He made a really nice scoop on a ball. He drew a nice walk. He crushed that double, clobbered it. 1 for 3. He's hitting 331, 391, 381. I would love to see him driving the baseball more, but he did drive the baseball tonight. That double was hit hard. I'm not saying it would have gotten out of the park in June or anything like that, but hard contact. We will take any hard contact that we see from Ty France after what we saw for the majority of 2023, right? Mitch Garver with a hit and a walk. Cal Raleigh had a really good offensive game too. Stung a couple baseballs. Isn't driving the baseball right now. I have zero doubt that Cal Raleigh will end up driving the baseball an awful, awful lot. Positives on the pitching side, I remain impressed with Colin Snyder. I really think that Colin Snyder might be a thing here. I got good reports in the spring, and I think he's going to be on this team for a while. Cody Bolton was fine too, much better than his previous outings for them, I think. Nice to see that they didn't have to go to the high leverage guys in a game that they just weren't going to win with how the offense played. A couple of questions. Well, and by the way, AJ, I hope you have a better feeling throat soon. It's not fun. It is not fun. I don't think I have RSV or anything like that, but it's just not fun. Justin asks, I think I'd split up Garvin and Raleigh, maybe throw France in the 6 hole and move Raleigh down. I would actually I agree and disagree. I would have Raleigh hitting 4th. I want Cal Raleigh to get as many at-bats as possible. All due respect to Mitch Garver. All due respect to Mitch Haniger. Cal Raleigh's a better hitter than those guys. I want Cal Raleigh hitting fourth, and then I would split them up, create that righty-lefty split. I just really want to see those guys split up, and I want to get as many at-bats as possible for Big Dumper, especially because he's stung the baseball sometimes. He's just not driving yet. It's game 6, too, right? We know that Cal Raleigh's going to be fine in that regard, I think. Let's see. Runners on scoring position, 1 for 13. Yuck. 12 Ks. Castillo. JP is lost. Rojas throw to first. I cannot do this for another 157. Give me some hope, please. Please don't say it's early, please. Well, it's not late. How about that, Bill? It's not late. On to Castillo, who the stat line's pretty gross here. 5 2/3 innings, 10 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. I thought Castillo looked phenomenal for the first 3 innings of this game, and he did not get any defensive help whatsoever. And I also want to give credit to the Guardians. I do my best to give credit to others. We're a Mariner channel, so we focus on them. But I do think like the homer that Naylor hit was not a bad pitch. Right on the inner half, you have to turn your hips and get through that zone very quickly to hit that ball out. And he did. Bo Naylor has a chance to be a really good catcher for a long time. And, let's just get into it now. This defense is atrocious. I don't like to do that. I hate to told you so much, especially when we are, sorry, Bill, so early into the season. But it looks garbage. That play by Haniger is just unacceptable. Now, who knows what happens? Because the next batter absolutely shellacks a ball. Absolutely shellacks a baseball. But I do feel like it's different. And maybe it's because I want it to feel different. I'm a huge Luis Castillo fan. And I was really impressed with what I saw from him over those first 3 2/3. And by the way, infield hit that ends up scoring a run on a play that Polanco, I'm not saying he should make it. I also see that you don't have exactly the strongest arm at second base there too, right? Like that's a tough play. But this also leads me to the defensive stuff that is problematic for the Mariners. It's not just about some concerns about making errors, right? Make plays. Good defenses turn hits into outs. I haven't seen the Mariners outside of Julio Rodriguez come close to that. You've got to help your defense out or help your pitching staff out. And so far, Castillo through 2 games has gotten 0 help. Now, he's your ace. He should pitch better than this. He should be more consistent. And there was some hard contact today. But you got to give him a little bit of help. And as Justin accurately points out, even if Castillo was great today, doesn't matter because the offense was terrible. Now, there was some hard contact that got unrewarded, especially in the first inning. They were teeing off on Bieber. Haniger hits a line drive that goes right to the second baseman. I think my buddy Jason Churchill pointed out that 4 balls were hit over 90 miles per hour in that first inning. Some bad luck, but the approach still, it's problematic. And certainly Shane Bieber has looked better than he did last year over 2 starts, one of them against a AA baseball team, then one of them against an offensive team that I think it's fair to say is struggling a little bit. But he pitched well. He pitched fine. Mariners should have scored more than 2 runs and 0 runs, I believe, off of Bieber. So, it's just frustrating. I know how not late in the season it is. I'm doing my best, Bill, to not say early. I know how not late in the season it is. It's beyond not late. But I really wanted this team to get off to a good start playing 2 mediocre baseball teams to begin the year. And they haven't. They're 3-3. The best they're going to do, and I think it's important might be too strong of a word, but I think it'd be really nice to just come out of this homestand with a winning record. And they will have a chance to do that tomorrow with George Kirby, who was so fantastic in that first start. But I'm disappointed in 4-3. I was hoping for a 5-2 homestand, maybe even better. And before anyone talks to me about how early it is in the season, just remember what happened in 2021 and 2022 and 2023. Poor starts, especially in May, but poor starts cost this team playoff spots. 2 of those years, and 1 year it cost them a division. And in fact, it really cost him the division last year too, right? Yeah. Thoughts on Sammy Peralta, who was claimed today off waivers from the White Sox? I'll talk about a couple of transactions that they made today. Peralta has pretty good stuff. He has horrific command. Horrific command. But the Mariners have done well with this type of profile. So I'll be curious to see, like, if he gets an early shot. I think with Saucedo and with Spire, they're not really looking for a third lefty right now. But somebody to keep an eye on. Somebody who I would guess will make appearances for the Mariners because it's so rarely any team now it's very rare that your bullpen stays healthy. Heck, we've already seen it right now that the Mariners bullpen isn't healthy. It's just the way this game works. The other transaction they made today was they signed Dallas Keuchel, and I don't think that's going to work out. It's crazy to talk about Dallas Keuchel the way we are now. Just a couple of years, it's like 3 or 4 years ago, one of the best left-handed pitchers in baseball. He ain't anymore. But I'm happy for my buddy Curto that he gets a fun personality for that baseball team. A really fun personality for that team. And I'll try to make my way to Tacoma to see a start. By the way, I know there's only 16 of you watching right now. Would you guys be interested in doing a meetup in Tacoma this year for either a Tuesday or Wednesday game? I think that'd be a lot of fun. Maybe I could talk to them and see about like us getting like some nice seats for that game too. Because the Rainiers don't hate me. I don't think they do anyway. Don't you think that would be fun? Just let me know in the chat if you think that's a great idea, a terrible idea, or whatever. But I think that'd be pretty neat. Go watch a game of Cheney. Anyway, Dallas Keuchel, I don't see that working out. But I'll tell you this, like, let's say Emerson Hancock is not good. I would probably go to Keuchel over Casey Lawrence. Now, Keuchel's going to have to build his arm strength and stuff like that. Brian says good idea, and Brian's the only person whose opinion I really care about. And then one other transaction here. Thoughts on Taylor Trammell being claimed by the Dodgers? I'm rooting like heck for the guy. You know, it's funny, and I want to be careful here because I think we can be a little lazy when comparing stereotypes, right? But Jason Hayward is hurt for that team right now. I think Taylor Trammell can have not the upside of Jason Hayward when he was the top prospect in baseball, but I think he can have a similar career to him as a patient hitter who's a good outfielder, who's a great clubhouse guy. I'm rooting like heck for Taylor Trammell. I don't blame the Mariners for waiving him. He's probably never going to be a regular. I think as much as Dom Calzone has struggled in these early portions, I'd rather have him on the roster. In fact, if you waived him now, and obviously they wouldn't, make that clear. Obviously, they would not waive Dom Calzone. It would be admitting supreme failure for that trade. They're not doing that. And, you know, I would rather have Calzone. I want to make that clear. But the Mariners, I don't blame him for designating him for assignment. I wish he would have gotten a little bit better of a shake. And, you know, that injury before the spring training in 2023 just really hurt. Just really, really hurt. Yeah. I was talking to a buddy of mine about who works in the media industry, how he was so upbeat coming into 2023 and how not as enthusiastic he was in 2024, because I think he knew the writing was on the wall. But I'm rooting for him. I am rooting for him. The M's are breaking my heart. You and me both, buddy. You and me both. I just really wanted to get off to a better start here. Justin asks, I didn't mean to skip this one. Sorry, buddy. Is it too early to talk trades for upgrades at third base and outfield once one of the Mitches goes down? And, oh boy, I hope they don't. But obviously, you know, you've already seen back spasms with Garver, and just based on history, Mitch Haniger is going to get hurt. I mean, I think you should have upgraded at third base in the outfield regardless. But no, it's not too early. It's not too early at all. It's too early to make widespread changes for sure. But we're not talking about just a 6-game sample with some of these guys, right? Like Josh Rojas, who, you know, he's hitting 417 right now, and he does get that double. Getting extra base hits on that is why baseball sometimes is not fair for the pitcher anyway, because he didn't hit that ball hard at all. You know, he's been okay. Defensive stuff, a bad air. And I meant to bring this up too. A pretty terrible effort from Ty France after the throw. He's just waiting for the thing. You got to go get that ball and try to make the take. Once you see that throw is bad, you have to go make that play, try to make the swipe take. It was kind of a lazy effort, if I'm being completely honest with you. And I don't like calling Major League Baseball players lazy because he's not. Obviously, he's not. But you got to have better instincts than that. You can criticize Ty France for that more than anything else. Just not having the instinct to get off the bag and try to make that take. It wasn't a good throw. It was a terrible throw. And again, the Seattle Mariners gave away one of the best defensive third basemen in baseball because they didn't want to pay him, but instead chose to pay Urias and Stanek. Wonder if the Diamondbacks would consider that trade, huh? Luis Urias and Ryan Stanek for Eugenio Suarez. Who says no to that one, guys? Let's see. Get into some questions. Am I wrong for being not worried? Bieber is a great pitcher, and we have Kirby on the bump tomorrow. No, you're not wrong. I would disagree with Bieber being a great pitcher now. But, Shane Bieber pitched well today. The Mariners have had a little bit of bad luck, and by all means, I think everyone knows I'm not making excuses for this team. They've had a little bit of bad luck in how well all of these starters have pitched outside of Sticks McKenzie. All of those guys for Boston shoved. Shane Bieber was really good tonight. But yeah, you win tomorrow. You're 4-3. Having a winning record is certainly a lot better than a losing record. There's no reason to panic. There's reasons for concern. And all we can do is react to these first 6 games. Over these first 6 games, do you guys think they've played well? I don't think so. Sans one half of an inning, not only have they been kind of bad, they've been kind of boring. I did not expect that. It's been kind of boring baseball. What's up with Castillo? Can we say we have the best pitching staff in baseball? This continues. Thoughts? No, I mean, if Luis Castillo keeps pitching at this level, no. But I talked about it earlier, and you probably missed it, Rodney. But I actually think Castillo pitched pretty well tonight. Got really hurt by his defense. Some balls that good defensive players get to, and some balls that just those errors are inexcusable. The fact all 4 runs are earned tonight, by the way, ERA is a stupid stat. It's a really stupid stat. Do you think the hook on players will be quicker in 2024 as Dipoto and Service don't have contracts past this year? That's a good question, Bill. Maybe a little. That's one I'd have to think about a little bit. Maybe. I think this is a really important season for the Seattle Mariners for a lot of reasons. So I'm curious to see. I kind of hope so. I'm not rooting against any of these players failing. That should be a horrible human being if I was. But you see the flaws. You see the flaws in this roster. Lots of time to figure it out. But you do see the flaws. Is Dipoto or Service gone if things go south? They'd have to go really south. Really south. We're talking about all-star break being out of playoff contention stuff. I don't think they will have a quick hook on either. It's not out of the question, and I'm not rooting for it. But I don't think it's completely out of the question. Let's see. Here we go. I agree 100% with the boring baseball. I can live with the strikeouts and bad defense. They're playing fun baseball the rest of the time. Yeah. Yeah, that just hasn't really been very entertaining so far this year, has it? And maybe that has to do with expectations and pressure. I was looking through stuff, and more people than not predicted this team to win the division. My buddy Nathan Bishop, who everybody calls the most negative person on the entire planet, predicted this team to win the division. I didn't. I have them finishing third. I still think they'll make the playoffs. But there are expectations here. So some of that has to do with that, I think. But it's just been kind of boring baseball. I did not expect that. I did not expect that whatsoever. Somebody asked about JP Crawford, and I can't find the question right now. He's looked lost. Anything that is not straight JP Crawford is really struggling to pick up. And, I wonder if he's pressing a little bit. I know Canzone is pressing. Like, even without talking to Dominic Canzone, I know Dominic Canzone is pressing. He wants to get off to a hot start. He wants to turn that unbelievable play in the Cactus League into success early on. But I think Crawford might be pressing a little bit too. There have been some really poor at-bats. He looked, you don't see you see him intense, right? But you don't really see him look flustered all that often, or at least I don't. That play where he hit the ground ball that ends up scoring the run to tie the game, where he hits that fielder's choice in the 10th inning, and you saw him and you see him. I think he might be pressing a little bit. I think this team might need and again, 3-3. What, they may need an early meeting. I think they may need an early meeting. Do I think Luke Raley, do I think he should play more? Yeah, I do. I would have Raley in the lineup right now. Canzone gets the hit late tonight. The other 4 at-bats were dreadful. Talk about anything bendy, by the way. He's just struggling. And it's concerning because, for the most part last year, he struggled. Looked great in the Cactus League. Lots of people look great in the Cactus League. Service seems frustrated by the strikeouts. Players need to figure some of the stuff out yourself. Ownership can't hit a slider for you, JP. Yeah, that's fair. I will say this, and I got in a little bit of arguments, not the right word, but a little bit of an exchange of ideas. I don't know if you guys saw Scott Service's comments to Aaron Levine. I thought he came across as a little bit of a jerk in those. Aaron Levine's line of questioning was fine. He asked him, hey, when do you think you have to start taking sample sizes considerably or seriously? And he was extremely off-putting to me. And I think it's because that he's under some pressure here. Because Scott Service seems like a great guy. A sensitive guy, but a great guy. I was really shocked by how callous he was. And some of this has to do with, without getting too inside baseball, the organization is not happy with the guy who asked those questions. And they're not going to be very nice to him this year. I like Aaron Levine. I think he does a really good job. And I think anybody who is trying to provide some objectivity to this organization right now is great. But I was really surprised by how angry he got by a very simple question. Very, very simple question. Please hit like and subscribe for those of you who are coming in. I really appreciate it. I'd love to get to 1,500 by the end of April. Very realistic goal. I think we're at 1,330 right now. I don't think another 170 is too bad. But yeah, if you haven't hit like yet, I would really appreciate it. I'm going to promote real quick that we are still on. Watch this happen in real time. Still on. Come on in. Let's see. Maybe we need to get Winker to start a fight. Might inspire these guys. Maybe. Anybody else I really wanted to talk about? I'm going to take this question and I'm going to do my best to not get in trouble. Why does Dave Sims get excited so early? Too early. I thought the Julio flyout was a homer, the way he got excited. Yep. That's as far as I'll go. Yep. Dave Sims is one of the nicest human beings in the entire world. I want to make that abundantly clear. Couldn't be a nicer guy. I'm always happy when Aaron Goldsmith is on the call. Let's see here. I think these guys need to take two-day bender together. Maybe during the next road trip, they need to bring the PNW Travel Association to see Louisville and bless the entire stadium. And I'm serious. Hey, whatever helps. And anything involving tribal associations, I am all for. All for. Yeah. Promote those guys as much as possible. I mean, I'll be honest. I had a moment, and I rarely do this. I'm usually pretty even keeled. Funny thing to say for a guy who has yelled on YouTube a lot, but I'm usually pretty unsuperstitious, I guess is the right way to say it. When Kirby walked two of the first three hitters, I had just move the team. Just move the team, or Chris, you need to find something else to do. Maybe when the Sonics come back, you can have a YouTube channel for them. Because when the guy with maybe the best command of any Mariner pitcher since Cliff Lee, when he walked two of the first three batters, I had going to be another one of these, huh? It's going to be another one of these, but I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping for the best. Any players I didn't talk about tonight that I want to talk about? Polanco made some hard contact tonight. Nice to see him use the other field. Also had two very bad strikeouts. Another guy who I think is pressing. And he has been Justin smoked a little bit earlier in the year. Some balls that I think might get out in the warmer months. And just missed on a couple of foul balls as well. By the way, I think I talked about this on Twitter. When Polanco hit that ball that just went foul, Aaron Goldsmith called that perfectly. Excitement, but also not going too crazy, waiting to see what happens. Sometimes I think announcers get a little too excited, hoping to create the highlight call. Goldsmith does not do that, with some exceptions. There are mistakes. Every every commentator makes mistakes. But I thought that was a perfect example on why I think, personally, Aaron Goldsmith should be calling every game for the Seattle Mariners. So glad you didn't go to St. Louis, Goldie. You are so good at this. Let's see. Any other questions? Doesn't look like it. Don't blame you. There's not a whole lot to talk about right now. So I think that's going to do it for us. Thank you so much to everybody who came out. We will do this again next week, either Tuesday or Wednesday. Should probably look at the schedule before I determine which one, but I'm not going to do that. Let's go over the pitching matchups tomorrow. We have George Kirby going tomorrow. Again, Kirby was just spectacular after the first inning, and he was fine in the first inning too, against Logan Allen. Advantage Mariners. Logan Allen's not bad, but I think that's advantage Mariners. Some interesting pitching matchups against Milwaukee, by the way. Gilbert against Peralta, that's a good one. Bryce Miller against DL Hall, I think that's a good one. Hopefully Miller a little more consistent tomorrow. And then Hancock versus Ray. Advantage Mariners, I think there. Real quick here, I think my problem with Goldsmith is that he goes off topic too much. I've heard some people say that before. I actually like how much he goes off topic because he does it in a way that I think is organic. Like, it's not planned talking points, or if they are, they don't come across as that to me. It can be a little frustrating, but I also think too, like, when you're calling baseball 162 games a year and, your team is losing 5-1, I don't blame you for going a little off topic. That's partially to the Seattle Mariner organization. They do not want them to hammer the organization at all. They want them to be glass half full. Glass half full is the way to say this. And then real quick, and then we'll end it here. Least favorite part of the offseason, the attempt to cut down on strikeouts or seemingly ignoring defense entirely when acquiring players. Folks, the strikeout thing was one of the most nonsense things they said. It had nothing to do with the decision to not tender Teoscar Hernandez, and it had nothing to do with the decision to sell, not trade, sell Eugenio Suarez. Had nothing to do with it. They didn't want to pay those players. They did not want to pay $30 million to two guys that put up mediocre numbers in 2023. I think it was a mistake. I think this offense looks a heck of a lot better, with all due respect to Mitch Haniger. A heck of a lot better. You could still bring Haniger back, by the way, and play him in left field, or Teoscar in left field. It looks a heck of a lot better with those two guys on, but they didn't want to pay him. They flat out were cheap, and they didn't want to play him, so they made up some BS about strikeouts. That is not a hot take. That is just the accurate, gosh dang truth. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. Be back tomorrow with just a normal video. Might go live. Might go live. I don't think I will, but just might go live. Thank you guys again. We'll see you soon. Go Mariners. Play better defense, please, because I just need it.